I welcome everyone in today's webinar organized by Department of Physical Sciences and Languages. Today, we have gathered on this online platform for celebrating the National Statistics Day to commemorate the birth anniversary of late Professor Prasanta Chandra Mahalanobis, who is also known as Father of Indian Statistics. This day, that is 29th June, is celebrated in recognition to the invaluable contributions made in establishing the Indian statistical system. Now, I would like to request Professor Sharda Singh, Head of the Department of Physical Sciences and Languages, for formal welcome. Madam, please.
Om Saraswati Namastu Bhayam Varde Kam Rupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhi Bhavtu Me Sada. With this prayer to Ma Saraswati, I seek to bestow us with all her blessings. It's my profound privilege to welcome all of you on the auspicious occasion of celebrations of National Statistics Day. Today on 29th of June 2021 at national level for the notable contributions made by Professor P.C. Mahalanobis in the fields of statistical development and economic planning in the post-independent era, coinciding with his birth anniversary, who is fondly remembered as the Indian father of statistics. First of all, it's my immense pleasure to welcome our very dynamic and multifaceted Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Professor H.K.Chaudhary, Chief Guest of this function. When I met him, that Department of Physical Sciences and Languages intends to celebrate National Statistics Day and request you to be the chief guest. He immediately said, "Go ahead, it's very good." Sir, your words of agreement filled us with enthusiasm to go ahead for its preparations. This shows Honorable Vice-Chancellor's love for the development and popularization of basic sciences. Professor H.K. Chaudhary has been working tirelessly since joined as Vice-Chancellor of this university for the development of the academia and welfare of farmers of state, even in these difficult times of pandemic. No day is left when he doesn't achieve more chairs to the university and the farmers of the state. Sir, your presence and encouragement will go a long way in encouraging the young faculty who took the initiative of hosting this event and students in particular who have joined in large numbers today. Sir, your slogan, प्रति वर्ष एक वैज्ञानिक एक परियोजना, न्यूनतम 10 लाख रुपए से कम ना हो कोई योजना. I am happy to share that this has started bearing flowers and fruits, and almost all the faculty of Department of Physical Sciences and Languages have submitted projects to different agencies with your motivation. Sir, your being with us on this occasion is great inspiration to all of us. Now I extend my heartiest welcome to our revered speaker on this occasion, Dr. Narinder Kumar, Professor Statistics, Panjab University, Chandigarh. He is decorated teacher and researcher with more than 30 years of experience. He will be giving the keynote lecture on evolution of statistics today to mark the birth anniversary of Professor P.C. Mahalanobis for his notable contributions in the field of statistics. Sir, I, on behalf of the university, welcome you on this occasion. I firmly believe that all the students and the faculty shall be benefited by your
on behalf of CSK HPKV and on the behalf of the CAAST project to our chief guest, Honorable Vice-Chancellor Professor H.K. Chaudhary ji, who have accepted our invitations accepted our invitation in spite of our having other engagements on this inaugural day of this national webinar. I extend my warm welcome on the behalf of the CSK HPKV to our chief patrons, Dr. R.C. Agrawal ji, DDG, come National Director, for his blessings and for blessings on this inaugural day of this national webinar. I also heartily welcome our national coordinator, Dr. Prabhat ji, who continuously monitored and encouraged to organize such events which are beneficial to the postgraduate research also. I welcome all the statutory officers Research, Dean, College of Basic Sciences, Dr. Anita Singh ji, Director Research, Deans of the colleges, Director Extensions, and Dr. Sharda Singh, Professor and Head, PSL, my learned colleagues, CAST, CPIs, COPI, and scientific staff and colleagues, friends and respected participants across the India, because many participant request has been received from the across the India also. On today's webinar, which is being organized under the Indian Council of Agriculture Research and World Bank projects, jointly funded under the National Higher Education Project, and the funded under the CAST, that is a component B, and it is being organized by the CSK HPKV Palampur. It's my great privilege, pleasure, and honor to welcome our today's thematic expert and the guest of honor, Professor Narinder Kumar ji, Department of Statistics, Punjab Agriculture University, Panjab University, Chandigarh, whose long and wide expertise would benefit our faculty, students, and the participant. I would also specifically like to mention here that this is the 18th webinar in the series, and more than 3,400 participants have benefited.
Registration of births and deaths was in vogue. During Akbar's reign, Raja Todarmal, the then land and revenue minister, maintained good records of land and agriculture by applying statistics. In Ain-i-Akbari, written by Abul Fazl in 1596-97, one of the 9 gems of Akbar, we find detailed accounts of the administrative and statistical surveys conducted during Akbar's reign. Modern statistician came into existence during mid-17th century with the introduction of theory of probability and theory of games and chances, for which contributors were mathematicians and gamblers of France, Germany, and England. In ancient times, it was only confined to the affairs of a state, but now it embraces almost every sphere of human activity and become indispensable in all phases of human endeavor. It is successfully being used in planning, business, industry, astronomy, medical sciences, psychology, education, and even in wars, as decision functions can be of great assistance to military and technical personnels to plan maximum destruction with minimum efforts. Thus, we see that the science of statistics is associated with almost all the sciences, social as well as physical. It is hardly possible to enumerate even a single department of human activity where statistics is not applied. It has rather become indispensable in all phases of
for giving the nice introduction about the guest. Now I would like to request the guest of honor and speaker, Professor Narinder Kumar, to please share the thoughts on evolution of statistics. Sir, please.
Right. So am I audible to you?
Yes, sir, you are audible, sir.
Right. So first of all, I would like to thank the university for organizing a webinar on National Statistics Day, so which is very dear to the statisticians, which is, as you know, is celebrated on the birth anniversary of late Mahalanobis ji, right? So I congratulate the Chaudhary sir for taking the lead in organizing this. And the organizers are, this Professor Anita Singh ji, who is the Dean of Physical Sciences or Basic Sciences. So I thank her for the nice introduction, right? So most of the things she has already told about the history of the statistics, right? And then the head of the department, Professor Sharda Singh ji, the organizing secretaries, Arun ji, Banti Kumar ji, right? And the principal investigator, Professor Rana ji, right? So under whose project this is being carried out, right? History of statistics, how it evolved over the time, because my talk is, the title is Evolution of Statistics, and on the birth anniversary of Mahalanobis, right? So it is the duty of statisticians to, take account of the history of the statistics from the ancient times, and then how Professor Mahalanobis continued with that, right? And how he, in fact, evolved statistics in India, right, when he was here. Right? So, and in fact, in between, I will also be talking about the applications of statistics in terms of data set and all that. Right. So generally, it is asked that whether statistics is a separate discipline like other disciplines like physics, chemistry, biology, and mathematics, right? Because everyone knows that these are separate subjects. The concepts of electricity, heat, etc., are studied by physicists. We all know. And wherever chemical reactions are there, we talk about chemistry people, and wherever we talk about deriving propositions from certain postulates and all that, we say that they are mathematicians, right? So each of these subjects, as I just said, that they have their own problems which they want to solve, and it gives them a status of a separate discipline. So that way, is statistics a separate discipline in that sense? So do we have really, purely statistical problems which statisticians would solve, or it's just a kind of a art, logic, or technology applied, to solve problems of other disciplines, applied disciplines, I would say. Right. So I'll be answering this question, and during the talk, I will be also talking about how statistics is being defined, right? So, even if the statements are being made, so that is statistically, right? So because we can always collect the data and we can analyze the data, and ultimately we can say that. So whether this, assertion is true or not, right? Or so as to say the data supports that assertion or not, right? And the secondly, similarly, this is again a well-conceived notion. Some believe, some do not believe that second-born child is more intelligent than the first one, right? So again, statistically, it has to be checked out whether it is so or not. So data has to, speak for itself, right? Whether this assertion is true or not. So, but if whatever is done, so then we say that there is a statistical evidence. Right, and then the statements very common these days that a statistical survey has revealed such and such. Right, so let me consider more examples from your field of study, because agriculture is the main subject, in your institution. Right, so suppose I have to compare two varieties of a crop. Right, so crop may be any. Right, it may be the pulse crop. Pulse grains could be there, or it could be the wheat grains. I think let me attach the board along if I can do that, so that because mathematicians and statisticians are more comfortable if they have a board. So let me attach that if I can, explain you people in a much better way. Rather, I myself will be convinced that I am explaining in a better way. So I have already attached, let me just say, first variety of the grain, and there is a second variety also. Right, the second variety of grain, right? It could be of interest to everyone in agriculture that whether the mean effect of the first variety, mean effect in the sense of the yield, say, right? Whether the mean effect means mean yield of the first variety once it has been, grown in the fields, is suppose the claim is that whatever is the mean yield of the first variety is the same as that of the mean of the second variety. So alternative is you could say that whether this equality holds or not. You may be interested in checking whether mu1 is greater than mu2, or it could be other way around also, or both ways it could be also there. So if it is both ways, then it is a two-sided. If it is one way, either greater than part or less than part, you call it as a one way, right? So the question is how to do it, right? So this is the average, what you say is the yield of the first variety. So this is population kind of thing, right? How to do it, right? So suppose I have, say, 40 plots available in totality. I have 40 plots available, and maybe I can, allocate my first treatment, the first variety of the crop, which is, say, wheat, right, grain. So I allocate the first variety to, say, plots. Say whatever number of plots you want to do, you may apply it to 10 plots, or you may apply it to 20 plots, depending upon what the experimenter has decided. For example, I have decided to allocated to 20 plots, and I have decided to allocate this treatment also to 20 plots, right? So the need of statistics arises right from the allocation, right? So now to non-statisticians, sometimes it comes in mind, because our aim is to in between I should check that my voice is getting there or not, because I'm just speaking in my room and I have to make sure that I'm there.
Sir, you are audible, sir.
Right. Thank you so much, Arun. Right. So general belief sometimes is that because these are the yields of the plots, right? Yields of the plots, and then someone may say that you just the mean, you add up these observations, what you have, over here 20 observation, take the mean over here, and you take the mean of the 20 observation over here also. That if this x1, x1 bar and x2 bar, which is the mean of the yields of the first variety and the second variety, and if they come out to be equal, you say that your hypothesis is accepted, or you are in favor of this hypothesis. And if x1 is greater than x2 bar, x1 bar is greater than x2 bar, you say that you are in favor. But it is not so, right? These are just averages, right? Statistically, we are not able to say anything. So I must say one thing over here. In statistics, whatever conclusions we make or whatever conclusions we offer to the experimenter, so they are never 100% correct, right? So they are with a certain margin of error, right? Statistician will apply certain test, right, on the basis of these means available, right? These are the two means we have. So a test will be applied wherein these two means will be used, and then accordingly a conclusion will be made whether you support the hypothesis. And let me now talk about because we were celebrating the birthday of Mahalanobis ji, right? So now the question is that here we were just recording the observation which was just a yield, right? But we may not, because now let me take the example of fruit trees, right? In the fruit trees, because I think that is also a very close application to you. In the fruit trees, you may be interested in comparing your what is the fruit diameter, right? So one is you may be interested in fruit diameter. Your observations may be what is the diameter of the fruit, right? So in that case also you will have the observation, say these 20 observations and these 20 observations, or whatever number it is there. So interest is in that case whether the fruit diameter of the first variety is same as that of the fruit variety of the second variety, right? So there could be maybe the same type of fruit, but one is being sown in one area, and statistics was being counted as a discipline within the sciences, right? So during the time of 34, right? So this is the history regarding as a science subject, right? I think this I can ignore over here because I need. Right. So this can go, I think. So some chronological events in the development of statistics are in the development of statistics in India: establishment of Statistical Bureau in Calcutta, right? Establishment of Department of Commercial Intelligence and Statistics in Calcutta during 1905, right? And then founding of Indian Statistical Institutes during 31, establishment of the National Sample Survey during 1950. So again, one question I raised in the very beginning, that is statistics as studied and practiced these days a science, technology, or art, right? So science to maine bata diya piche, right? So that I have already explained. Now perhaps it's a combination of all of three, right? So this is what the literature says. It is a science in the sense that it has its identity of its own with a large number of techniques derived from some basic principles, right? So whatever techniques were derived much earlier, right? So they came into use later, right? Similarly, whatever we are investigating these days, right? In fact, they are also based on, sometimes someone comes to us, right, and says that this data is to be analyzed. Then accordingly, we, maybe existing technique is there, but we modify that technique so that it is able to, analyze the data set which is presented to us, right? I mean, that way, it's, of course, it is a science, but it is also independent subject, right? So because if any subject has to get developed, it has to have a freedom of its own, right? So these techniques cannot be on the birth anniversary of Professor Mahalanobis is a befitting honor to his memory. The last comment is, statistics is the bedrock of the modern evidence-based analysis. It's an area where our endeavor should be to continuously improve the relevant institutional practices and methodologies for data collection, compilation, and analysis, as well as the knowledge and skill base of the professionals engaged in the subject. Thank you all.
Guest of honor of today's celebration, Dr. Narinder Kumar ji, Professor Statistics, Department of Statistics, Punjab University, Chandigarh. Our Dean, College of Basic Sciences, Dr. Anita Singh ji, all statutory officers, Dr. Ranveer Rana, PI CAAST-PANF, Dr. Prabhat Kumar, National Coordinator CAAST, ICR New Delhi, Dr. Sharda Singh, HOD Physical Sciences and Languages, College of Basic Sciences. Organizing secretaries, Dr. Arun and Dr. Banti Kumar. Technical coordinators, Mr. Kapil Sharma and Mr. Kunal Sood. Our scientists, scholars across the country. Dr. Bhargav, Dadan, Head of Department, Physical Sciences and Languages. Dr. Kamlesh Singh, Dadan, Dean, College of Basic Sciences. Dr. Narinder Kumar has very nicely gone for evolution of statistics and what is a statistics, what for it is required, which way we have to move, how it has been evolved. We are thankful to him for this visionary lecture he has delivered today, very nicely elaborated through his calculations in the very beginning. I like that the statistician should go on the boards. Thank you very much, Dr. Narinder ji. Sometime have a visit to our institution and College of Basic Sciences, Department of Physical Sciences and Languages for further interaction with our students and our other scholars.
Sure, sir.
Today it's a big day when we are celebrating birthday of a big person. I must say it's a big salute to Padam Vibhushan, Professor Prasanta Chandra Mahalanobis, a polymath, a planner, educationist, visionary, one of the architects of modern India, father of Indian statistics, whose birthday we are celebrating today. Professor Mahalanobis, who was popularly called in his institution as the professor in his institute. He was born on 29th June 1893. I have just been looking for his last day of his life. It was 28th June 1972. And exact 79 years he had his life. So I was just making a total of the numbers on both sides. 79's total, it comes out to be 7. And 29th June, if you make it total, it also comes to be 7. I don't know how Mahalanobis has just organized this whole journey of his numbers. Anyway, the story of mathematics and statistics, people used to say it starts from the family. Not maybe always. It's God gifted also sometimes. You know the name of Ramanujan, a great mathematician of our country who has shaken universities like Cambridge, worked with Hardy Binberg. Well, if we talk of today's big person, Professor Prasanta Chandra Mahalanobis, his revered father, Subodh Chandra, he was a renowned physiologist Fellow Royal Society of Edinburgh. First Indian to occupy the post of HOD Physiology in University of Cardiff. University of Cardiff. So this fellow, he has brought name and fame to the country, returned to his nation, established a Department of Physiology in the Presidency College, Calcutta, now Kolkata. His grandfather, Shri Guru Charan, actively involved in social movement like Brahmo Samaj, treasurer and president of Brahmo Samaj. Some evils of the society he has removed. Professor P.C. Mahalanobis grew up in a socially active family surrounded by intellectuals and reformers. This great person, he was taught by great people. Jagdish Chandra Basu, Prafulla Chandra Rai, and his colleagues, Meghnad Saha, a great astrophysicist, he was 1 year junior to him, and Subhash Chandra Bose, who is not known to this person, he was 2 years junior to him in Presidency College, Kolkata. After his graduation in physics in 1912, as Dr. Narinder has already told, that he left to England to join University of London. But destiny took him to University of Cambridge. He missed his train by chance on that day and stayed with his friends over there in University of Cambridge, talked about that university. Some English fellows, when they were discussing about the potential of this institution, then he was impressed upon and forced to apply over there, and he applied and got admission over there, and he got his BA Physics from University of Cambridge. Did wonderful work over there. And that time, luckily, Srinivasan Ramanujan, he was also there. He interacted with him, worked with C.T.R. Wilson, Nobel laureate in physics, who invented cloud chamber. So he worked with this Nobel laureate. The turning point when it came from physics towards statistics to Mahalanobis, when he come across with a journal, Biometrica, which was published from Oxford University Press. It was focused totally on theoretical statistics. He was so impressed with Biometrica, he bought many journals, books related to that and brought back to India. Then discovered the utility of statistics to problems in meteorology and anthropology. Established Indian Statistical Institute, of course, in Warangar, thereover in West Bengal. And impressed upon from Biometrica, likewise there in UK, he just thought that I should also go for attracting people to publish somewhere there in a journal here over in the country and attract some people from abroad to publish in our own journal. And he has created Sankhya, a very popular journal, just like Biometrica there in UK. His contributions, of course, as enumerated a large list by Dr. Narinder ji, Mahalanobis distance, D-square analysis. I'm basically a plant breeder and geneticist, and breeder is looking for diversity. The biodiversity, how we are going to group it, how we are going to analyze the populations, a way of comparing and grouping these populations using a multivariate distance measure. Breeders dealing with diversity, they are nowadays going for molecular data analysis on the basis of molecular basis, DNA basis. They are just grouping their data, their species, their land races, their germplasm resources. Many a times, many papers I have come across, and personally in my research with my students, most of the times when we are going to group our material, our germplasm, then I couldn't find much of the difference when we are comparing D-square along with this molecular data. Now you can see the validity of the models of Mahalanobis of that time and today's molecular data, even it's quite comparable till date. Now you can see the vision of that person, how meticulously he has come up with those models which are workable even today. I don't know any person, if anyone who is going for this molecular analysis of his genetic resources, germplasm, in any crop, then he is not going for simultaneously this D-square analysis to look for the distance. Comparatively, people might have found that there is not much of the difference. Of course, at DNA level, we are avoiding the environmental influence, but still on morphological basis, this D-square analysis is very near to this molecular data. And I salute to this great person, how visionary he was, and that time, how could he think of this model? Sample surveys, most coveted, and his most important contributions are related to large scale sample surveys. That time, Professor R.A. Fisher, British statistician, geneticist, and academician. For the sake of statistics, R.A. Fisher, every breeder is familiar with him. He has been described as a genius who single-handedly created the foundations for modern statistical science. He commented on the contribution of Mahalanobis and his Indian Statistical Institute, that this institute has taken the lead in the original development of the technique of sample surveys, the most potent fact-finding process available in the administration. Of course, this great person introduced a method for estimating crop yields, which involved statisticians sampling in the fields by cutting crops in a circle of diameter 4 feet. His interactions with agricultural researchers in ICR resolved various issues related to crop surveys. Nominated as member planning commission and contributed in second 5-year plan for emphasizing on the basis of a 2-sector model. This model worked for rapid industrialization of our country. It was a great contribution of this person. Even at last stage, he was active and doing research, discharging his duties as secretary and director of the Indian Statistical Institute and as honorary statistical advisor to the cabinet of the Government of India. Together with his fundamental contributions in statistics, he also contributed significantly to research, thinking, and societal value in planning, economics, and econometrics. He was the first Indian elected member of the Econometric Society and its first fellow and founder of the Indian Econometric Society. Today, if I say that Mahalanobis that time, many decades ago, when you can well understand the science of computer where it was, moving from this country to UK, how much difficult it was. Interacting with the people, it was so slow, it was in snail's pace, so many hurdles, very less interaction. That time that man could have think of something which has shaken the whole world. Now today it's the challenge when in the world of computer science, we are moving over there with digital world. All information is in our hands. Anytime we can interact this moment, many people, they are sitting at their homes, native places, institutions across the country. We are interacting at one forum. This type of a facility, had it been there, what Mahalanobis would have done more than that. It's a challenge to our young statisticians. Come forward with something innovative, more innovative, whereby we can resolve the issues, how we can present our data in many ways and interact with people across the world at one forum, one portal. How many ways we can present our data? How many ways forward to impress the rest part of the world, because we have an edge for mathematics and statistics. Till today, University of Cambridge, Oxford and others, renowned institutions like that, they are still waiting Mahalanobis and another Ramanujan. Let us pray Almighty God, give us a strength to think on those ways again and produce more Ramanujan and Mahalanobis in our this large country. मां भारती के इस सपूत को मैं नमन करता हूँ.
Thanks, Mr. Arun. Myself, Dr. Banjit Kumar, Assistant Professor of Statistics, feel honored to present vote of thanks in today's webinar. First of all, I propose hearty vote of thanks to our Chief Guest, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Professor Narinder Kumar Chaudhary ji, for gracing today's webinar. Thank you for your very inspirational and thought-provoking address. I am sure that all the participants have taken note of your suggestions, sir. Now, I thank our guest of honor and key speaker, Dr. Narinder Kumar, Professor Statistics, Department of Statistics, Punjab University, Chandigarh. We are really enlightened with your knowledge and presence, sir. I would like to thank our Dean, College of Basic Sciences, Professor Anita Singh, Head of Department of Physical Sciences and Languages, Professor Sharda Singh, Program Coordinator, CGRT, Professor Ranveer Singh Rana, for their key role in organizing this event. I would like to thank all statutory officers, head of departments for their gracious presence in today's webinar. A special thanks to the organizing committee, technical coordinators, teaching and non-teaching staff for their unflinching support and coordination. On behalf of 9 languages, I take this opportunity to thank to those who have directly and indirectly contributed to this webinar on evolution of statistics on the occasion to commemorate the birth anniversary of late Professor P.C. Mahalanobis. This event was organized by Department of Physical Sciences and Languages under the able guidance of our dynamic Vice-Chancellor, sir. Finally, the wonderful students and participants who have turned up in such a great numbers, not only from our department, but also from the other departments of the college and also from other universities.